Hi there, friend. You're a school leader and you care about creating a diverse and welcoming school culture. Justice and equity are important to you. So today we're going to talk about ways that you can create a more inclusive and welcoming school culture for everyone. I'm going to share 4 practical, actionable tips that you can take today to make sure that your staff members, families, and students feel more included and safe in your school community. In case you don't know me, I'm Dr. Shelby Kretz, and I am the creator of Little Justice Leaders. Over the years, we've helped hundreds of school leaders and thousands of teachers transform learning environments to be more welcoming, inclusive, and rooted in justice. So if you care about justice and education, you are in the right place. So let's start by talking about why this matters so much. We know when students feel included and like they belong at school, they perform better academically, have better attendance, and report better mental health outcomes. Of course, these are all things that we want for our students. They're also more likely to engage in school activities and pro-social behaviors. The same is true for family engagement and staff retention. When people feel like they belong, they're more committed and engaged in the community. So let's dive into the first action step you can take today. And that step is to make a good first impression. Walk through your school doors with fresh eyes and think about what someone will see, hear, feel, and experience. What's on the walls? What is the experience of walking to the front office and walking into the office? Are your signs welcoming and accessible and available in the languages that your family speak? Do the displays and artwork around your school represent the diversity of the school community? Consider this from multiple perspectives. So walk through and think, what might a student see? What might a family member see? And what might a staff member see when they walk through the door? And here's a hint, you can always ask them. And of course, don't forget to consider what happens before they even walk through the door. Are parents or family members left to stand outside in the cold waiting to be let in? Of course, we know school safety is important and we can't just let anybody in, but what is that experience like for a family member who comes to visit their child's school and is left waiting outside, not knowing how long they're going to be waiting? Once they're inside, of course, the members of your school office are going to be ambassadors for your school. Are they trained not just in the policies and procedures, but in how to make everyone feel like they belong and are included in the school culture? Those folks should be striving to create a welcoming experience for everyone who walks through those doors, whether it be a family member, a staff member, or a visitor. And of course, that includes having procedures for how to communicate with families who may speak a different language. So I challenge you to think of just one thing you can do to make the space or experience more inviting for folks who are walking through your doors. These small touches can make a huge difference in how much someone feels like they belong and that they're a part of that community. Step number 2 is to build inclusive routines and traditions. So let's talk about your school's daily rhythms and practices. The routines that we create send powerful messages about who belongs and what we believe in our school. Take a close look at your morning announcements, events and assemblies, and daily practices. Are they designed with all students in mind? Think about a new tradition that celebrates the diversity of your community. This could look like community potlucks where families have a chance to bring cultural dishes. It could be multilingual story times, or it could be cultural sharing assemblies throughout the year. The key is making sure it's not just a one-off event, but rather a commitment to a deeper concern and appreciation for diversity and inclusion. And don't forget to include diversity that isn't represented within your school community. So yes, of course, we want everyone to feel like their family, their experiences, their background are represented at your school, and that should be priority number 1. But you also want to challenge yourself to think, who isn't being represented in this school? Even if we don't have any students from that particular background or experience, every child deserves the opportunity to learn about the diversity of the world beyond their community. So challenge yourself to deepen the representation by thinking about what identities aren't represented and how you can educate your students about those identities as well. And we do have a representation checklist. I'll link it below. So if you are stuck or need some help thinking about where your representation might be lacking, you can use that checklist as a place to get started. Remember as well that true inclusion means everyone can participate. You might have to think about offering events at different times to accommodate working families, offering options in different languages to accommodate families who speak a different language, providing childcare at meetings, or considering transportation needs for your community. It might also mean rethinking the physical accessibility of your spaces and how folks get around and enter them. Or thinking about how your events might be more inclusive for neurodivergent students, staff members, and family members. To get started, choose just one routine, practice, or event that you can upgrade to make it more inclusive for everyone. Action step number 3 is to improve your communications. Remember, communication is how we are getting in contact with everybody in our community, so it's really vital that we get this one right. This is the foundation of an inclusive school culture. And it's not just about what we send out to families. It's about creating a dialogue with families and engaging in conversation and reciprocal respect, which means we may need to rethink how we're engaging with families and how we're communicating with them. For example, you might need to think about if your resources should be offered in various languages, or if you need to communicate through multiple types of communication. So, for example, you might be sending a letter home with students, but you may also consider email, text, or phone calls, as those might work better for some families than others. It also means ensuring that your school's website is user-friendly, up-to-date, and that it clearly reflects and shows your commitment to diversity and justice. Just as importantly, it means creating opportunities for families to also share their thoughts and ideas. Communication should not be a one-way street where we're just sending information home, but it should actually be a conversation. This could be through regular feedback meeting, family engagement community, or through informal coffee chats and get-togethers. If families are dropping students off in the morning or picking them up in the afternoon, step outside for just a few minutes, maybe once a week or a couple times a month, and chat with the families when they're there. The key is showing them that you actually value their perspective and you're interested in what they have to say about their child's education. The same, of course, goes for students and staff. Are you engaging in informal conversations and asking them about what they think could be better at the school? Take the opportunity to have these conversations if you're not already, and show that you're serious about listening to what they have to say. This might include a formal survey as well that you send to staff or to students. And finally, how we communicate matters, and this matters across the board. So make sure your staff are trained on culturally competent communication and how to engage with diverse communities. This might mean knowing and understanding the cultures and customs of your students and their families. The surveys we just talked about would really help with that, because there may be cultural traditions or customs that your students and their families are participating in that you don't know about. So if you send home a survey, that can help them really share about anything that is going to be important for you to know. So if you need help with those, we do have survey templates. Check it out. I'll link that below, so that you don't have to start from scratch in creating these surveys. And action step number 4 is to support your team. Your staff and the teachers are the heart of the school community, and so it's so important for them to be on board with creating a welcoming and inclusive environment. Support your team with ongoing professional development on cultural competence and building justice-based communities. If you need support with that PD, check out Little Justice Leaders. Our equitable school program offers comprehensive professional development, but even if you don't get it from us, make sure that you're providing high quality professional development around inclusivity and justice. And of course, do not stop at training. We all know how ineffective PD can be when it's not backed up by real practices and support. Create systems that allow staff members and make it easy for them to put these practices into action. This might look like regular collaboration time, mentoring programs, or affinity groups where staff can support each other in this work. And of course, we know time is a huge challenge here. Start small and do what you can. You may not be able to rearrange schedules to make sure there's collaboration time every day, but do whatever you can to leverage time and opportunities for teachers to have the support they need to do this work. Maybe at first that just looks like having an anonymous feedback form where teachers can share ideas, suggestions, or concerns about the work. If possible, identify 1 or 2 staff members who are really passionate and excited about this work and encourage them to share ideas and hopefully become leaders for the rest of the community. As a school leader, of course, it's also really important for you to model what creating a welcoming environment looks like. This means having diverse voices at decision-making tables, sharing the leadership across the board whenever possible, and regularly examining and questioning our policies and practices through a lens of equity. Okay, so I'm going to give you a bonus tip. So if you you feel confident and you're ready to get going, that's great. And I'll give you one more idea, and I'll have to admit this one is a little more advanced. But for action number 5, I'm going to ask you to diversify your curriculum. This can work even if you have just one teacher who's excited about diversity and equity work. Encourage that one teacher to think about how to use more diverse and inclusive resources, books, and practices in the classroom. And encourage them to think about lessons that draw on the diversity of the community. Again, for ideas on where to start and our representation checklist, that's going to give you lots of ideas on how to bring more diversity and justice topics into the classroom. And if you're ready for support on a full school social justice curriculum, check out the Equitable Schools program below. We would love to have you. And again, we offer a full school curriculum. So hopefully that would make it a lot easier for you and your educators to put this to work. But either way, even if you don't use our resources, encourage teachers to think about how they can bring justice into the classroom. So this can feel like a lot. So here are a few important points to think about as you get going on implementing some of these ideas. Number 1 is to start small, but be consistent. Remember, small early wins can help you build momentum and energy for this work in your school community. That signals to everyone that things are changing and you're actually putting into place the things you've been talking about. Slow and steady changes will be the most well received by everyone and the most likely to last. Number 2 is to celebrate your wins. We know this work is not easy, especially with everything you have on your plate as a busy school leader. Celebrate every step toward a more welcoming and inclusive school community. Number 3 is to create accountability systems. Set a clear goal. So, for example, we will send out a family survey by the end of the month. Monitor your progress toward that goal and adjust it as needed. Now, if you get to the end of the month and you haven't sent the survey, that's okay, but ask yourself why and how can you make it happen in the next month. And number 4, be sure to share the leadership. You do not have to take this all on by yourself. Find staff members who are passionate and knowledgeable about this work and delegate pieces that you can to those who want to help. This helps, of course, build capacity, show that you trust your team, and make this work more sustainable in the long run. Of course, we never want to put more work on a teacher's plate, so just make sure you start small and simple. So I am not going to sit here and pretend that this work is easy. It's not. I know it's not. You know it's not. So let's talk about some of the challenges that may come up with this work and how you might approach those challenges. The first thing I often hear is that we don't have the budget for this. And trust me, I get it. But remember, many of these practices don't require a budget. It's just a shift in our thinking or in our behavior. For example, you can start by having teachers engage in projects that will showcase student diversity that you can then use to hang up around the school. Or you could start sending home a simple survey to families to get a sense of their identities and what might be important to them. Or you might want to start by sharing diverse history facts once a week on the morning announcements. These are easy, simple, and free ideas that you can start right away. Concern number 2, of course, we know this one, is that staff is overwhelmed. We get it. Most teachers and school staff members are buried with so much work and so much to cover all the time that it can feel debilitating to think that there's just one more thing on our plate. So start small, bring them in if you can, and if they're excited about it, but if not, then start on your own, and again, start small to make it more sustainable for yourself. You might find that some of your staff members really appreciate this work and want to be part of it. If not, do what you can. For example, you might want to use pre-scheduled PD time to bring in training on cultural competence and justice-based education. This will make sure that you're not taking any more time from teachers, but they're still getting the training and capacity building that they need. And concern number 3 is I just have no idea where to start. And trust me, I've been there. It can feel like literally everything is urgent, and so nothing actually gets done. So start with the simple audit. Walk around and see what can be approved immediately. Make a list for yourself. Then send out a survey to families, students, and teachers if you can, and make a list based on concerns or ideas that they suggested. Now, use those lists to guide your priorities. Pick one thing and focus on that first. And again, if you want a template for a survey for students and families, check out the link below. We have a template for you so you don't have to make that from scratch. Remember, take one step at a time. Even if you're only able to make 1 or 2 steps this year, your school will still be better off and more welcoming for everybody. Start small and celebrate the progress along the way. If you found found these ideas helpful, please like and subscribe to stay up to date on our content on creating more inclusive and equitable schools. And if you're ready to dive deeper and your school really wants to think about creating a justice-based culture, click down below to learn more about our Equitable Schools program. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments what step you're going to take first to create a more welcoming and inclusive culture.